Hello, welcome to the first image critique on the YouTube channel. I've been doing this for a long time in the Facebook group, but I decided to bring them here instead. And I've been judging photo competitions and image critiques for a long time. I got my certification from PPA back in 2013, 2014, something like that. And I've judged competitions and club events all over the country for the past several years. So I love doing this. And the reason I always encourage my students to enter print comps and photo critiques is to get feedback. It's not necessarily about winning or placing or getting a medal. That is cool. I think the best thing that you could get is constructive feedback to make your work better. And if you happen to win something, that's great too. But I would always recommend, if there's an opportunity for you to get in with a camera club, local chapter of PPA or your state chapter, whatever it may be, get in there and submit images to the print competition so you can listen to the judges pick apart your work. And it's nothing about you personally. You're going to learn. You're going to start seeing things that you didn't see before and get helpful feedback. Let's dive in. All right, I'm just here in Photoshop because I can grab my brush tool and I can mark things up really easily. The first thing that we look for in an image, as per PPA guidelines, is impact. That is the most important thing when judging an image. It holds the highest weight in the score. How much does the image jump out at you? This totally jumps out at me. I am loving it. Like, how could you not stop and take a second look of all these bright colors on this black background? But aside from that, these lines, so aesthetically pleasing. The diagonals, they're fantastic. The thing that I'm not digging is this hand right here. And that's because with this hand, we see soft fingers, ballet hands as we call them, and we're looking at the edge of the hand. With this one, it's bent almost at a 90-degree angle. The wrist almost looks broken, and we're looking at the back of the hand. It almost looks like a paw, like a monkey paw. Generally not very aesthetically pleasing. Overall, I am loving this image. The pose is fantastic. It's very flattering. The underwear fits. I don't see any dramatic pinching there. The head is turned at the right way and tilted. Lots of 45-degree angles. This is a stellar image. It's also cropped very well. If I throw grid lines on here, you can see the weight of the image is right through the center, and the face and the elbows, the arms here, the weight is through that third, and then hip line down here through that third. It's perfectly balanced. This is a fantastic image. Couples photography. Okay, cool. I love the contrast here and the juxtaposition. Her pose is very soft. It's delicate. It's passive. It's submissive. Eyes closed, chin down. She's wrapping her arms around herself, very closed off. He's more aggressive, and not aggressive in a negative way, but just he's leaning toward the camera. His body is open toward the camera. He's looking at the camera. That's a much more assertive position for him to be in. I'm digging that. The things that I'm not really feeling are the crops. Cropped very close here, pretty close up there, and then we're losing part of her bottom down here. I want to see some more space all the way around them. The other thing is the separation. You can barely tell where the hair stops here. We lose the hair here. We lose the hand. We lose part of the arm, all the torso. They totally blend into the background. By throwing a second light back here, coming in this way to rim the face here, the inside of this arm, you would get so much more separation from the background, and this image would really pop. You know, you grid these and go crazy, throw a second one over on this side, and this would be magic. I love the pose. I love the expression. I like the intensity contrasting the softness. It's just cropped in too close and we have no separation. Another couple shot. If you'll notice, when I get to each image, I just like zone out for a second. What I'm doing is looking through the image. I'm defocusing my eyes and I'm just looking at the shapes. It's almost like if I were to throw on the image and look at it like this. Where are the highlights, the bright points? What are the shapes in the image when you don't necessarily know what the subjects are? That's something I'm looking for with composition, the leading lines, the heaviest parts of the image. So I love the tenderness of this moment. I think it's a beautiful pose. Not a ton of separation in their heads. They almost look like conjoined twins, especially with both of them having long hair that's getting tangled up. I'd want to see separation from their heads, and we can't see his body. Just some more separation around there, more contrast between them would be fantastic. Also, I love the flowy fabric in the water, but it's taking away from her curves. So if you were to get in here and maybe darken some of the highlights or darken some of the shadows a little bit on both sides, and you would do that locally with a brush. You could do it in Lightroom. You could do it here with a layer mask and some levels and just create more separation there between the body and the fabric. Also, this thigh is cropped too short, and this one is cropped in a weird way that makes her thigh look huge. So when you have somebody in water, it's just like cropping the camera. This is like there we go, a pretty tight crop up on the thighs. I'd want them a little bit lower, you know, like mid thigh. And just the way this line is on the water, it makes her thigh look really big. And the last thing that jumps out at me is the texture in the skin. Now, when I shoot commercial work or any of my non-boudoir portraits, I grunge up the whole image. I use a ton of clarity, not to the point that it looks over-processed, but there's definitely some grit to it. Then I mask it off of the skin because the shadows down here, reflections down here, armpit, it makes all the cellulite, all the wrinkles, all of the texture really stand out, and the skin almost looks muddy, dirty. And I've yet to meet a woman who's like, can you really show all my cellulite and all of the folds and wrinkles in my skin? Most don't ask for that. So masking that off of the skin would make a huge difference here. I know you probably can't control the depth of the water here, but changing the position of her leg would make a big difference, and just not having that huge line right there. But overall, I love the moment. I even love this strand of hair. It's wild. It's gorgeous. Such a great moment. Cool. We're back to the black lights. Okay, so this is what I was talking about in that last one. This arm goes up and over, soft side of the hands. Perfect. We're not at the 90-degree angle. Now this one goes up over, soft side of the hands. We're not at the 90 degrees. We're not looking at the monkey paw. Oh, that's fantastic. Well done. And again, just beautiful line through the image here. I love the way this flows. The only thing I'm seeing is if we look at the grid lines, this is weighted way heavy over here. And it's not quite on a third. It's not quite in the center. It's a little bit off. So this is an easy fix. There we go. Now the way the head flows through on this line, the image is a lot more evenly weighted. You could probably go, there we go. Yeah, now it's a lot more balanced. 15.5 might have been a better number, but you see what I mean. But I love the space around her now. The lines, everything about this is magic. Well done. So this is very similar to the one in the water we just saw. I love the pose. I love the moment, the expression, totally magic. But the grit in the skin, the way that it shows all of these details, I think it's a bit much. I mean, it's a stylistic choice, right? So I'm not one to say that your art is wrong. It is significantly less flattering to somebody. And again, I don't know a woman who says, draw attention to my cellulite, please. I don't think you have to like get rid of all of it and make her look like a plastic mannequin, but I wouldn't draw it out with the clarity. And the other thing is the separation like we saw in the couples photos. So the way the hair totally falls to black, the chair totally falls to black, back of her legs, her foot, her back, everything fades into black. And we don't know where things stop and where the background starts. So having a second light come in this way would do a world of difference on this image to just carve out the legs of each of these things. I don't think you'd see the bottom of the chair, but you might see a little bit on the ground. You'll get something on her back and then in her hair, right? Even just that, by like 90s animation here of the chair, it feels so much more balanced. The other thing with separation, just like black on black, is white on white. So we've got her arm and her jaw almost the same tones. And so we lose that separation between those things. And the last thing to look out for when you have a head tilted back, the flow of the jawline. I don't like to go beyond 90 degrees, this angle here. I like to keep the jawline on the acute side, not the obtuse side. I would want to, if this was the plane, have her jaw more like this, or even closer to vertical, but not vertical and not past it. Because then you tend to stretch out the neck and you get things that are clenching in there, and you see so much real estate underneath the jaw here. Generally just not flattering. But again, I love the image. I love the pose, the expression, the mood, the feeling, everything there. Just cleaning up some of the technical aspects would make a world of difference. Same deal. I love the expression. I love the juxtaposition, just the intensity here with the softness here. So good. The tenderness of the pose. Magic, but we're cropped tight here. We're cropped really tight here. I'm assuming his head goes like this. We're cropped pretty tight up there. Same thing down here. We need more space around them. And then also separation, you know, where his back goes, the top of his head, her hair, and down like that. Same thing with everything going on down here. We can't see anything. The pose, the scene, everything here is magic. I just want to separate them from the background and give them more space. Cool. Totally different for the last one. So again, I'm just looking through the image, blurring my eyes. I'm digging this. I love the lines that I'm seeing. And then the things that jump out. This is really bright in here, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. That's the first place my eyes go. But we're cropped pretty close here. And if I zoom in, this is a weird crop right here. Now, I've been known to crop through the top of the forehead before, but because the way her head is tilted, which I think is tilted just a touch too far, you can see space around that little tuft of hair on that side of the part, but not on this side. And that's why I think it looks off. I'd want to see the tops of her hair, like both sides of her part on this, or nothing. And then this hand, I want to see more of her arm out here because it looks like, I'm assuming it's her hand, but we can't see where it comes from because the hair almost totally blocks that whole arm. And whenever you have mystery hands coming into an image, it just tends to look off. Like our brains know that it belongs to the person, but we need to see where the hand comes from. I love the hand here. I would turn it a little bit more to the side. I think it's still very soft, but we do see the whole back of the hand here. I definitely want to turn that a little bit. And again, I'm digging the head tilt. I like the line. The way the nose is tilted down, it's cutting into the eye. So bringing her chin back up a little bit to have the center of her face more here, we'd see all of that eye, and you wouldn't see quite so much real estate underneath her jawline. That 10-degree difference in bringing her head back will make a world of difference in this image. It's also going to bring this hair up here, up above the crop, to match the other side. Overall, stellar image though. I'm sure she loved it. Well, there we go. That is our first image critique for the YouTube channel here. So if you want to have your image critiqued, send it over to mike@boudoirguild.com. You can leave your watermark on if you want your name. I don't call people out. I'm not going to tag you in it. You can stay anonymous if you want to. This is about constructive feedback. I just noticed something else. Let me jump back real quick. The skin pinching right here, it looks like it's where a strap would be over her shoulder. I would fix that because that's kind of jumping out at me now. Okay. Anyway, I will stop looking at the photo. Send your images to mike@boudoirguild.com, and I would love to give you more constructive feedback. This is going to be more of a regular thing. The more images we get, more we're probably going to do these critiques, and I'm looking forward to the next one. I will see you later.